The Moment community includes an array of amazing journalists, and tonight we're honoring one of the truly, truly great ones, Robert Siegel. We're honoring him with Moment's 2024 Inspirational Journalism Award. Now, Robert has not only been my darling friend for over decades, he really taught me how to do radio, how to use sound, and how not to make a fool out of yourself on the air when you have just found something has gone incredibly wrong. Not to say, I can't read this, which is what I once said when I was hosting All Things Considered, and they handed me gibberish. Now, Robert did have the grace. He called me to his office. At the time, he was the vice president for news, and he called me to his office. And when I showed him the text that I had been given, he really couldn't give me a hard time because it was gibberish. But he said quite correctly, and I've learned the lesson, you could have said, we're having technical difficulties right now. Here is Robert Quillrich reporting on something or other, whatever the something or other was. And I learned that very good lesson from Robert and many, many other lessons like that. After he retired from NPR, the only thing I will never forgive him for is that it was Moment's great good fortune to have him join their team. And here to tell us what it's like to work with Robert are Amy Schwartz, Moment's opinion and books editor, and Suzanne Borden, Vice President for Public Affairs and Programming and the producer of Moment Live.
Good evening, everybody. I was so delighted to be asked to talk about what it's like to work with the great Robert Siegel. Robert, as all of you presumably know, after his career at NPR, came to us and offered to write a book essay for every issue of Moment as our special literary correspondent. And I am the lucky editor who gets to brainstorm with him about what he's going to read and write next. Those of you who know Robert, or who are merely familiar with his body of work, can imagine how much fun these conversations are. Robert finds everything interesting. He's interviewed everyone on the planet. He remembers everything any of them have ever said to him. And this often is useful when a book comes out by pretty much anybody about pretty much anything. So some of Robert's reading and writing is literary. He's written for us about Philip Roth, Amos Oz, and Proust. Okay, he only interviewed the first two of those. He's written for us about American political history, about which, of course, he knows more than anyone else, American Jewish history, Mediterranean Jewish history, World War II, the Cold War, the aftermath of the Cold War, anti-Semitism, and perhaps the most fun, an array of questionable characters and outright scoundrels, ranging from the Sackler family to Josef Mengele. My favorite headline of any of the pieces Robert wrote for us, which was about people who had made fortunes under the Nazis and still had them, was called Very, Very Dirty Money. And with all this, aside from the conversations being wonderful, of course, the copy he sends is wonderful. It's always on time. I never have to touch it. And the only request he's ever made of me is, from time to time, he'll say, how about no more Nazis for a while? So as one of his former NPR producers that we reached out to wrote to us, in his years at NPR, Robert, quote, didn't just set the standard, Robert was the standard, and we all stretched every day trying to measure up. I can only concur. It is a joy to work with Robert, and he's done more for Moment than this award can possibly capture. Suzanne?
Over the last 4.5 years, we've hosted over 250 Moment Live conversations, and many of them have been moderated by Robert. And I can say without fail that every single person he has interviewed for Moment, including many who are here tonight, always start by telling Robert what an honor it is for them to be interviewed by him. And almost everyone remarks about how much they miss hearing the sound of his voice on the radio every day. So you can imagine how exciting and yet terrifying it was when I learned that I was going to be working with Robert on some of our Moment Live programs. The thought that I would be introducing him and then back on camera with questions from our virtual audience was just a little intimidating. But very quickly I learned that there was nothing to be nervous about when producing a program with him. Robert has graciously shared with me past stories that he has covered throughout his career at NPR, and I've enjoyed talking to him about politics and sports while we're waiting for our guests to join the Zoom. It has been an honor and a privilege to be able to sit behind the scenes and watch and listen Robert interview so many distinguished people. And I know that all of us at Moment are grateful to be students of the Robert Siegel Masterclass on Journalism.
Thank you.
I just want to say what an honor it is to work with Robert every day. Usually it's Robert and me up there giving awards to people, but it's my pleasure to give this one to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nadine. After all these introductions, even I am a little interested in hearing what I have to say. I think this guy they've described is amazing. I can't say that I fully recognize him. I'm typically, as Nadine said, I'm typically doing the job that Nina is doing tonight, and I'm just sitting here being anxious in that case about whether we're falling too far behind on the clock. And this year I've been able to just enjoy the gala. It's really nice. It's really fun. I've been doing this for 10 years, I think, but I can finally actually experience it as a guest. When Nadine suggested the most remarkable career path move from pro bono annual co-host of the Gala to special literary contributor, I thought about it, and it seemed like a very interesting idea. It drew upon two facets of my identity. I'm a journalist, and I'm a Jew. Professionally, I'm a journalist. In a deeply personal way, I'm Jewish. And so I entered into Jewish journalism, which was something new for me to do. And it has been, the reading alone has been an education. The reading of the magazine as well has. And in both counts of my identity that I've mentioned, I wish I could say I'm feeling a little happier and more confident than I am. Journalism faces a big challenge. In this city, has to once again do its basic job of sorting out fact from fiction. In a strange age when we have a president, or will soon have one, who really doesn't care. He has figured out that he can win elections without bothering to adhere to facts. And that leaves journalists in the odd position of constantly having to point out that the president has told a mistruth without appearing to be consistently partisan in the process. It's a challenge, and I leave it to Wolf and his friends, and Nina and her colleagues, and those who are still working to figure out the solution to that. As a Jew, I'm also disconcerted. If you'd asked me when I first came to Moment a few years ago, would we see a time when acts and words of anti-Semitism that had been consigned to the fringes of American life and to the shadows were losing their shame. They were being avowed publicly in our country and others. And it worries me. It seems to me that the only solution, I would suggest, is that in addition to pointing out that these are behaviors that mimic those of some of the worst actors in human history, that anti-Semitism is an ancient hatred, some say the original hatred, and it speaks very ill of those who advocate it. In addition to that, we should not only point out that they're courting Nazihood, but that we are Americans, and we should be vigorous in our affirmation and our defense of the rights that have been achieved in our country, that have made our country the envy of the world. And we should do that with confidence and with love for our fellow Americans who have also fought in their own way for those very freedoms. I hope we'll be strong. Thank you. When I was told to speak, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I always want to tell people, do you realize it's a job at NPR to stop people like me from talking for however long we want to talk for? That's it's a good job, too. I'd just like to thank Moment for the opportunity to write for them. These two women who introduced me just now, Suzanne and Amy, are both great, and they're wonderful editors, and I feel I'm the better journalist for it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Moment. Thank you, Nina.
And we're now going to move into a very special part of the program. Leah Siegel is a musician, singer, and a writer. I have known her father, the aforementioned Mr. Siegel, as long as I can remember, and as long as she has been alive. And I can remember very well when she, and for that matter, her sister Erica, were born. When Jane was in labor with Leah, it was taking too damn long, and we were getting very nervous. So I called up the hospital, and I asked for the maternity floor. And I said, "This is Dr. Brown. This is Dr. Brown. Is Mrs. Siegel delivered yet?" And they said, "Not yet." And I said, "Okay, I'll call back in a while." And then I called back a little while later. I said, "This is Dr. Brown. Has Mrs. Siegel delivered yet?" And they said, "Yes, she just delivered." And I was able to break the news to the entire newsroom, which was pretty small at the time. Well, anyway, Leah is today the star. She performs under the name of Firehorse. And tonight, she's here with musician Andrew Sherman to sing for us. So, Leah, take it away.
Thank you. I just want to say that I think I speak for everyone I've ever met in my entire life when I say you are a treasure. And everyone is so grateful for your incredible service and your continued contribution post-retirement. So in your honor, I have learned all 80 verses of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. Here we go. I'm kidding. This is a totally reasonable length of Hallelujah.
I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift. The baffled king composing Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. And she tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throne and she cut your hair. And from your lips she drew the hallelujah. 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 You say I took the name in vain, but I don't even know the name. But if I did, well, really, what's it to you? There's a blaze of light in every word. It doesn't matter which you heard, the holy or the broken. Hallelujah. 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 I did my best, and it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I've told the truth, I didn't come to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll do one more for you. This is, I think, one of the best songs ever written. I started singing it to myself, I don't know, 10 times a day in the 2016 era time. It's such a brilliant song, and it's a song about hope in the darkness. And the lyric says hope, but when I sing it and when I hear the composition, it really feels so much more substantial than that. It feels much more grounding. And I think what it's really speaking to is faith. And I think that distinction, at least it's been very important to me. Here we go. This is Rodgers and Hammerstein.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky the sweet silver song.